If you're looking to start flying on the Vatsim network, one thing I'm probably thinking about is what if something goes wrong and what if you mess up someone else's flight. But in this video, I'm going to be showing you 6 ways that you can avoid getting stressed and being worried on the Vatsim network during your flights. So first of all, tip number 1 is that you are always in control of your plane and you're always in control of what you can and can't. If a controller tells you to do something, I'll always try and do it. The controllers are obviously there for a reason. So if ATC tells you to do something and you either don't know how to do it or you physically can't do it, make sure you tell air traffic control, so say you're unable. And if you don't know how to do something, then always ask. The controller is helpful, which I'll get onto a bit later. But just remember that you are always in control. And if you start feeling you're getting a bit stressed, you don't want to continue your flight, you can always disconnect from the network. Okay, tip number 2 now is to make sure you know your aircraft and you know how to fly it. So, for example, here when the PMDG 737 came out, I didn't go into Vatsim flight straight away. I did a few flights just offline, so I could get used to how to fly the plane and watch some tutorials and things like that. So you actually know how to do everything you're going to be asked to do on the Vatsim network. Once you've done that and done a few offline flights in the plane, you'll understand how to do everything that you need to know. And only then would I recommend going onto the Vatsim network so that you can actually obey what the controller is telling you to do. Moving on to tip number 3 now then, that is that the controllers are always there to help you if you need it. When you're first starting off on Vatsim, especially, you might not understand everything they're saying, or you might miss something they've said. So if they tell you to squawk the 90417, you might forget what that number is because they're also telling you other things like your departure and things like that. So if you do forget it, just remember to ask them and they will definitely repeat it. They are very helpful with new pilots and even experienced pilots when they get something wrong or forget something. Controllers are there to help you. Tip number 4 now is to fly to less busy airports. So obviously busy airports come with more traffic, and more traffic means the controller's going to be getting more stressed themselves, and there's not going to be much silence on the radio. It's all going to be talking all the time. So especially when you're on the ground, you're going to struggle to get your pushback and your taxi and things like that, because everyone else wants to get there first. And especially for landing, there's going to be a lot of traffic. So you kind of want to avoid the busy airports. So some examples here: if you're flying to the UK or to or from the UK, and you fly from London, I definitely recommend going to Stansted instead of things like Gatwick and Heathrow. Obviously, Gatwick and Heathrow are kind of like the main ones, so they're a lot busier. So anything like Stansted or Luton, things like that, they will be a lot less busy in London. And if you're in the US, I'm not that familiar with the US, but avoid things like JFK and Vegas, things like that, because obviously they'll be the most popular airports. Tip number 5 now is to do kind of short haul flights. Don't go in with a 3-hour flight on your first flight. That's definitely not a wise thing to do. I'd say more about 1 hour for a flight, even less if you can, for your first few flights. Even if you're doing the first 10 flights, maybe around an hour or less if you can, because then you're not going to be on the network for too long. It will kind of just be an on. You get to cruise and you're already descending into your destination, and it all goes in a flow instead of you being in cruise for 2.5 hours. It does get a bit boring that as well, and then also you're trying to think too much about the approach, especially if you're going into an airport you've never been to before. You might be stressing out a bit over that. So I definitely recommend doing short haul flights. And if you're from a particular country, so the US, if you're in a particular state, try and stay within there. So I'm not sure how many airports there are in each state in the US. I'm not from the US. But I don't know, if you're from Texas, then to try and stay within or around Texas. You may feel a bit better flying around your local area. If you're from things like France, then obviously stay around France and things like that. Try and stay around your local area, especially as procedures in different places are a lot different. For example, the whole of Europe and the US, they have quite different ATC structure. So I'd recommend just flying in one kind of area as you start out, and then once you get a lot more confident, then maybe go over to Europe if you're from the US, or go over to the US if you're from Europe, things like that. Just try and stay where you're comfortable. And finally, tip number 6 is laugh. You'll sometimes hear some funny things on the radios on Vatsim. I know I definitely have in my time on Vatsim. And you just need to remember to laugh about it. And if you make a mistake, laugh about it. Don't stress yourself out over your mistake. Just laugh about it and move on. It's not going to be the end of the world. And if you do make a mistake and you do disconnect from the flight, just try again the next day or whenever you can. And just try and have a laugh about it. Don't always get too stressed. So that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope these tips help you on your Vatsim journey and help you to do your first flight if you haven't already on the Vatsim network. And even if you have and you're still stressing out a bit, use these tips and it might help you out. As always, I'll link a video now to another video that YouTube thinks you'll like from my channel. And if you want to learn more about flight simulation and Vatsim, then do make sure to subscribe to the channel. I do lots of things on flight simulation and Vatsim, so if that's your kind of thing, then make sure to subscribe if you're new. And also, if you did like the video, then please click that like button down below. It helps the video reach more people, and then ultimately we can help more people as well. As always, thank you for watching. I hope to see you again shortly. Bye bye.